I didn't expect my marriage to be tested in the middle of a pasture, holding a camera in one hand and gripping a lead rope in the other while my husband stood back, silent. The horse between us, Athena, flicked her ears, sensing the tension that hung thick in the summer air. She was just doing what she always did, being patient, being present. It was the humans who were unraveling. My name's Lily. I'm 33, a former veterinary tech who left city life behind when I married Ethan, my husband of 3 years, a third-generation rancher with quiet eyes and a tendency to speak in short, loaded sentences. He's the kind of man who fixes things with his hands, who carries stress like a second skin but rarely lets it show. Until lately. It started small, the way most things do. A few too many late-night conversations about visibility and revenue streams for the ranch. Then came the camera gear, the social media pages, and the channel he launched, Ridge and Reigns. He said everyone's doing it now, turning their lives into stories people could watch, follow, invest in. I didn't mind helping at first. I even smiled for the occasional training video or barn tour. But last week, he asked me to do something different. I need you to trust me, he said, holding out the script with my name at the top. It's just you and Athena. Natural. Unfiltered. Show people what it's really like, bonding, working through fear. Don't hold back. It sounded harmless enough, but the way he said it? Like there was more behind those words. Like it wasn't really about the horse at all. Now here I was, standing in our north paddock with the sun dipping low and a camera blinking red. Recording. Ethan had asked me to let Athena approach me, unhaltered. Let her test me, challenge me. Let them see your emotion, he'd said. What he really meant was, let them see your breaking point. Because here's the part no one watching knows, Athena isn't just any horse. She was a rescue. One I fought to bring home, one I bonded with more deeply than I ever expected. But something happened a few months ago. She bolted during a storm. I ran after her. She nearly got hit on the road. I blamed myself. After that, I couldn't go near her without flinching. Ethan knew that. He knew I hadn't touched her in weeks. And now, he wanted me to face that pain on camera? The lens stared at me. The breeze stirred my hair. Athena took a step forward. I took one back. Keep going, Ethan called from behind the tripod. Something in me snapped. What exactly are you trying to prove? I shot back, not even sure if I meant to say it out loud. He didn't answer. The silence between us said more than his words ever could. Athena snorted softly, nudging closer. Her nose brushed my arm. My breath caught. I didn't know if it was fear or something deeper, grief maybe, or the slow realization that this wasn't just about a video, or even the horse. This was about us. About trust. About how far we'd drifted without even realizing. And just as I reached out to touch her, Ethan stepped forward. What are you doing? I asked, suddenly aware that something had changed in his posture. He didn't reply. But the look in his eyes wasn't about filming anymore. It was something else. Something I wasn't ready for. I used to think I knew what trust looked like. Ethan's hands, calloused and careful, wrapping around mine when we first met at the feed store. The quiet steadiness in his voice when he taught me how to muck stalls or ride bareback. The shared cups of coffee in the barn at sunrise, those little, unspoken things that made a life feel whole. But now, standing inches from Athena, that old certainty felt as fragile as a cracked fence post. She snorted again, her breath warming my sleeve. My hand hovered just over her muzzle. I wanted to reach out, but my body remembered too much, the lurching panic when she bolted, the echo of hooves on asphalt, Ethan's voice yelling my name through the rain. After that day, I built a wall between us. Between me and the horse. Me and Ethan. And I never told him why. He thought I was scared of Athena. The truth? I was scared of what losing her meant about me. About us. I finally brushed her nose. Her skin twitched under my fingertips, and something inside me cracked open. Just for a second. Then Ethan stepped forward again, camera still rolling. "Let it happen," he said, voice low, almost coaxing. "People need to see this." "People?" I turned, pulse flaring. "Do you even care what I need right now?" His jaw clenched. "Of course I do." "Then stop hiding behind the camera and talk to me." The silence stretched. Even Athena stilled, as if she sensed we were on the edge of something neither of us wanted to admit. "I thought this would help you," Ethan finally said, quieter. "Help us?" We stopped talking, Lily. "You sleep with your back to me. You flinch when I mention her name. You're not the same." Neither was he. "I'm trying," he added. "But I can't do it alone." I swallowed hard, fighting the heat rising behind my eyes. Somewhere behind the anger was guilt. Not just for shutting down, but for never telling him the truth. That when Athena bolted that day, I wasn't chasing her for the ranch. I was chasing her because I needed control over her, over myself, over a life that felt like it was slipping through my fingers. And I failed. "I can't just turn my fear into content," I whispered. Ethan's expression softened. He stepped closer, not touching me but near enough that I felt the weight of his presence. "It's not about content," he said. "It's about healing. About being honest." I looked at him. Really looked. The man I married was still in there, under the exhaustion, the pressure, the pride. But I didn't know how to reach him without tearing more of myself open in the process. Athena nudged my shoulder gently. I turned to her, letting the moment anchor me. This wasn't just a horse. She was the mirror we'd both been avoiding. "I'll try," I said finally. Ethan nodded. "That's all I need." But as I turned back toward the camera, something about its position made my stomach drop. The little red light wasn't blinking anymore. "Wait," I said. "Were you recording that?" Ethan frowned, stepping toward the rig. He tapped the side of the camera. "It cut out," he muttered. "Battery died." I didn't notice. My chest tightened, unsure if I was relieved or disappointed. Maybe both. "So, what happens now?" I asked. He looked at me, his eyes steady. "Now? We figure out if we're filming a story, or living one." And just like that, the wind picked up, sending the scent of dust and clover through the air. Athena lifted her head, alert. Something was coming. But we didn't know what. The following morning, I woke to the sound of hoofbeats and Ethan's voice, frustrated, clipped, cutting through the open kitchen window. I looked out to see him in the round pen, trying to work with Athena. She wasn't responding. She circled him with pinned ears and high steps, agitated. Ethan wasn't reading her. He was trying to control her. I knew that look on his face. It wasn't about training. It was about something else entirely. Over coffee, he told me a local equestrian influencer had offered to collaborate, someone with 500,000 followers and a polished, curated image. She wanted to visit, film with Athena, and bring more attention to the ranch. "She can handle a difficult mare," he said flatly. My stomach turned. "So now she's difficult?" I asked, heat rising in my chest. "I'm just saying we need options. If we can't make this work, someone else will." It wasn't just a threat, it was a fracture. One that had been building under the surface, fed by our silence and shaped by a dozen choices neither of us wanted to claim. For a moment, I wondered if Ethan really believed in us anymore, or just in the idea of what we could look like to an audience. Later that day, I found Athena pacing by the gate, restless. She wasn't reacting to her training. She was reacting to us, to the tension, the pressure, the energy we were bleeding into her space. I crouched near the fence, whispering apologies she couldn't understand but might somehow feel. I didn't blame her for resisting. I was doing the same. That night, I stood outside the barn, watching headlights roll up the drive. The influencer. Early. She stepped out, young, tall, manicured, already live streaming to her audience. Ethan greeted her with a handshake. I stood frozen, heart hammering. This wasn't just about the horse anymore. It was about what, and who, we were willing to sacrifice for the sake of the STO. By late afternoon, the wind had picked up, brushing the scent of rain across the paddock. The influencer, Sienna, was already mic'd up, standing confidently beside Athena as Ethan adjusted the camera's angle. She was all polish and performance, calling Athena sweetheart like they were lifelong friends. Athena, stiff and suspicious, tossed her head. She didn't know this woman. Neither did I. I watched from the barn, arms crossed, trying not to scream. This wasn't what we built the ranch for. This wasn't connection, it was a spectacle. A show with Athena at the center, but no one seeing her for what she was. Sienna stepped into the round pen, cooing for the camera. Athena's ears flattened. Let her back off, I called out, unable to stay silent. Sienna looked at me like I was background noise. She needs to learn boundaries. I stepped forward. She needs to feel safe. Ethan didn't move. He didn't say a word. He just kept filming. And that's when Athena snapped. She reared, just a few feet, a warning more than an attack, but it was enough. Sienna shrieked and stumbled backward, dropping her phone. Athena turned hard, nostrils flared, chest heaving. I rushed in before anyone else could react, voice low, steady. Easy, girl. I've got you. It was instinct. The world narrowed to just us, me and her. The noise faded. I reached for her halter. She let me. Behind me, Sienna ranted about liability and insurance. Ethan was pale, still holding the camera, but the red light was off. Again. You weren't filming? I asked, breathless. He shook his head. I didn't know what was happening. No, I said, turning to him, eyes burning. You chose not to see it. Silence. Then thunder rolled in the distance. Athena pressed her head against my shoulder. Something was ending. Or beginning. I didn't know which yet. But I knew this, if Ethan wanted a story, he just got one. The storm came fast and hard that night, like it had been holding back until the moment everything broke. I stayed in the barn with Athena, wrapping her legs, calming her nerves, whispering in that quiet way only she and I understood. She pressed close, trusting me completely now, even as thunder cracked the sky wide open. Outside, rain fell in sheets, blurring the house lights across the muddy field. I hadn't spoken to Ethan since the incident in the round pen. He hadn't tried either. Sienna left in a fury, muttering something about wasted content and never working with amateurs again. Good riddance. But her arrival had exposed something that couldn't be unseen. Ethan wanted the story more than he wanted the truth. Or maybe he couldn't tell the difference anymore. At around midnight, I finally made my way back to the house, soaked and cold. Ethan was at the kitchen table, scrolling through footage on his laptop, headphones on. He didn't look up when I entered. The room was lit only by the screen's glow and the occasional flicker of lightning outside. I got her calmed down, I said, breaking the silence. He nodded but said nothing. I moved closer, and that's when I saw it. His screen wasn't showing footage from earlier. It was older. A folder labeled May_archive. Dozens of files, thumbnails of Athena. And me. Footage I didn't remember being filmed. What is that? I asked. He flinched and yanked the headphones off. It's backups. From a few months ago. You were recording me back then? His eyes darted to the screen. Only during training. For analysis. I thought maybe I could use it later, if we ever did something with the channel. My chest tightened. Without telling me? It wasn't personal, it was personal, Ethan. That was before I even agreed to be part of this. He stood now, voice rising. You were part of it, Lily. You just didn't realize how good you were. How people responded to you. The way you handled Athena. It was real. Exactly, I snapped. It was real. And you used it. His silence said everything. I backed away, bile rising. I had trusted him with parts of me I didn't even understand, and he had archived them like B-roll. For potential use. I turned to leave, but his voice stopped me. There's more. I froze. What do you mean? He hesitated. You remember when Athena ran off that night? I turned slowly. Of course I remember. She didn't just bolt. My skin prickled. What are you talking about? He closed the laptop, pressing his palms to the table like he needed it to hold him up. That night. I'd just gotten an email. From someone with a big offer. A brand deal. They wanted a dramatic origin story. Something with emotion. Fear. Triumph. They liked the footage we'd posted of you and Athena. Said they wanted something with stakes. I stared at him, not breathing. I didn't open the gate, he said quickly. But I didn't latch it. I thought. Maybe if she got out, and you saved her, it would be the story they wanted. I felt like the ground had vanished beneath me. You let her run? He looked stricken. I didn't think it would go that far. She could have died, Ethan. I could have died. I know. I know, he said, stepping toward me, voice breaking. I've regretted it every day. I never thought it'd go that wrong. I just wanted to save the ranch. I was trembling, soaked clothes clinging to my skin, but I felt nothing. No cold. No wind. Just rage. And grief. You sacrificed everything for a story. I sacrificed everything trying to save us, he shot back. You shut me out. You wouldn't talk. I didn't know what else to do. So you gambled with the one thing I still trusted. Athena. It wasn't just betrayal. It was heartbreak. My trust in Ethan wasn't broken, it was shattered. I want you out of the barn, I said quietly. And the camera stays off. From now on. Ethan's face crumpled, but he nodded. He didn't fight me. Maybe because he knew he'd already lost. I spent the rest of the night lying on a pile of hay, curled beside Athena. She kept watch over me like I had for her so many times before. In the dark, the only light was the slow rise of dawn bleeding through the slats in the barn wall. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just watched the light grow, minute by minute, knowing that by morning, everything would be different. The morning after the storm was quiet, too quiet. The ranch felt washed clean, but the silence between Ethan and me was louder than any thunder had been. He stayed away, like I'd asked. I didn't need words now. I needed truth, and space. I walked Athena through the wet grass, the sun just breaking through the clouds. Her body relaxed beneath my hands, the tension from the past few days melting away in the early warmth. She trusted me again. That alone gave me strength. But as I turned back toward the barn, I saw him, Ethan, standing at the fence, camera dangling from one hand, a packed duffel at his feet. He wasn't filming. He was leaving. I'm going to my brother's, he said, voice soft. For a while. I nodded slowly. You need to figure out why you started telling stories in the first place. And who you became when they started mattering more than the people in them. He looked at me for a long moment, eyes red but clear. You were the only real part, Lily. I just lost sight of it. I didn't say goodbye. Not yet. I wasn't ready to decide what came next. But as he turned and walked away, something shifted, like the air had opened up again. That night, I uploaded a video. Not for views. Not for drama. Just a quiet moment of Athena walking freely in the field. No edits. No music. And a single caption, some stories aren't meant to be captured. They're meant to be lived. Weeks passed. The ranch was quiet, just me, Athena, and the rhythm of real life. I didn't miss the camera clicks. I didn't miss the pressure to turn moments into content. I just let things be. Ethan called once. Just once. He told me he was in therapy, working through the pressure that had twisted his passion into manipulation. He didn't ask to come back. He just wanted me to know he finally saw what he'd done, not just to me, but to himself. That mattered. We weren't enemies. We were two people who'd lost each other in the noise, and maybe found ourselves again in the quiet. Athena was thriving. She'd started connecting with the new rescue colt, and watching her guide him reminded me that healing isn't loud. It's patient. Gentle. Earned. One afternoon, I recorded a new video. Just me, talking to the camera, no filters, no scripts. I shared everything. Not the drama, but the journey, the love, the loss, the choice to walk away from something toxic even when it came wrapped in good intentions. The response? Overwhelming. People weren't looking for perfect. They were looking for real. And that's what I'd given them. So no, my husband didn't make me do anything with Athena. But what he did was show me how much I was willing to fight for the things that matter. And that's a story worth telling.